you go. Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Hi. Can you see me, hear me? Everything okay?
I can hear you. I can't see you yet.
Okay,
Oh, there you are.
loading. All right, and I see Andy, so we're going to bring him up also. And this is working like it's supposed to. So nice.
There he is.
Nice exposed brick background behind you. Hey, everyone. Wow,
There he is.
we got some
Hey.
in the audience. Hi, everyone.
Hello. Can you
Hey.
hear us? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, great.
Awesome. All right. Well, just another brief introduction. I have Lynn on the left and Andy on the right. You two are the owners of Stylish Detroit. Business partners and life partners?
That's right.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I want the origin story. So, tell me, how you got into photography, how you got into real estate photography. Were you always in business together, or did that kind of evolve? So just give me a little background.
Sure. I mean, how much time do we have?
We have an hour. I'm watching the clock, so I'll let you know if we're going to wrap up, so you don't worry about that.
No worries. I was joking.
Okay.
So we, Lynn and I actually had a wedding and portrait business starting in 2006, I think, right? 2007. And Lynn also had a day job in the real estate industry. I'm not sure if she wants to reveal what that was, but she had a day job in the real estate industry. I was working a part-time job, which of course doing weddings and portraits kind of encompasses your full-time. We started getting requests at a rather odd time in real estate to do photography, and we were catering a lot to the Grosse Pointe market at the time.
And when you say odd time, do you mean the recession?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it was definitely if you talk to most people that are doing what I'm doing, that would not be deemed as a very strong time to start a business like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, over the course of, up until about 2014, we were both shooting listings here and there for people that we knew, people that we were acquainted with, and it really kind of started to flourish on its own to the point where I was able to do away with my day job, and we reached a point where we decided that weddings, having a business together, living together, trying to have a house together when you have all your Saturdays, all your Sundays for the rest of the year booked up, and working on top of it, weddings just got to be too much. And I love it. I love dealing with the people, but ultimately, real estate took over, and we got to the point where I was booking more than we could handle. And then in about, I don't know, what is it, 2016, late 2016 or so, we started hiring and training contractor photographers to be on our team. And so it's ever since then, we've kind of continued to grow. And of course, going through all the changes in marketing materials and marketing needs over those times, of course, back then there wasn't really a lot of people specifically doing photography even. I mean, it was still those that kind of got it did it, or those that had something special and wanted to really showcase did it, but there wasn't really this sort of standardization of like, if you want your property listed very well, it's time to kind of do photography as a standard offering to your clients, and then build up from there. And that's when video came to be, and Matterport came to be, and all these 3D technologies, et cetera. And so now today, I mean, of course, I've kind of breezed over a lot of story there.
That's all right. I'm going to have you go back. I've got other questions. But...
That's okay. That's okay. So today we're very happy with a team of 10 people altogether, and we generally cover about 100-mile radius of Detroit without any fee. We're very able to accept jobs in that sort of radius. And, you know, it allows us to do, you know, between, well, each photographer, depending on their availability, between 3 and 5 a day. So, last year we did about 3,100 homes in the Metro Detroit area. So it's been great. We're seeing growth every year, and yeah, that's kind of the rough origin, the brief origin story.
Okay. So do you how does the how do you, what is the division of labor between you two? Are you two in the field taking photos anymore, or are you just managing the business now? How and who does what?
Sure. For the most part, up until this year, actually, I was in the field still full time. We did bring on Mike, our admin, who's been just incredible asset for us, allowing me to do some business building and focus on some things. We also brought in a videographer this year, Dylan, who has been able to kind of take on some of those videography roles, which is really what I was doing mostly last year. So I am now focusing more on the commercial side of things, everything from the builder clients, kitchen remodelers, interior designers, stagers, as well as, you know, building the business. And then Lynn is entirely our marketing arm. She is, if you've seen our presence on Instagram, it's definitely one of our strongest assets, and I can let Lynn certainly speak to that, but that's all Lynn. Lynn has grown our Instagram following. She's grown our ads. Anything that you've seen out there marketing wise has been through her, for sure.
Yeah, I haven't really shot that much since COVID started, so we just got vaccinated, so we're looking forward to rejoining the civilization. So
sure.
This past year, I've just basically been like hitting social media really hard and you know, doing that stuff. So, but you know, we do shoot, like before COVID, we would shoot. You know, we do like if people request us in person, or if we have like a luxury home or a special project. Usually when it's like a more complicated project where we have like a lot of different things going on with video and multiple services, we'll usually, you know, multiple people will go out on site just to save everybody time.
Okay. So going back to 2016, that was when you said that was the level up moment. Am I correct with that? That's when you were like, wow, this is a thing. Like
that was,
we need to really run with this.
yes. That was the point where I was booking more than I can handle. And I knew that if we didn't do something about that soon, I would either be turning away market share or killing myself in the process of trying to get everybody in, you know. One thing we found is since then is the more availability we offer by way of having additional trained photographers, the more we book. And so yeah, that was essentially the point where it was, you know, it had to be done.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, we were worried when we brought on our first shooter, which I think she's in the audience right now, Nikki, that we wouldn't have enough to keep her busy. And she actually had a part-time job when she started with us. And I think like 2 weeks in, she's like, yeah, I can quit my other job. Because we just realized that like once, we didn't realize how much stuff we were like leaving on the table when the calendar was full online, that people would just go on to someone else. And once we had that availability, we just kept filling it, and then we just kept bringing more people on. So now, you know, if we see that we're booking like more than 3 days out, we know it's time to start thinking about training a new person to bring on.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you say that, because you have an awesome website. It's so functional. It's so
Thank
easy.
you.
Just booked photos today. Beep, beep, boop. Done. So when did you integrate that website? Were there, you know, how was it working for you before? It was just like somebody would call you or text you or email you, and now you have, you know, what?
Yeah.
How long has that system been in place, and how has it helped you grow?
That's a really, really good question. So during one of the part-time jobs I had, actually, before that period was I was a system administrator for as a Salesforce administrator, actually Salesforce administrator and very light Salesforce developer. And one of the things that taught me and kind of really kind of hammered into my head as far as me forming my business was the importance of having proper business processes in place. And so one of the reasons we've been able to scale so successfully is that from the beginning, or I should say from the beginning of that growth phase, we implemented a lot of systems, I guess you could say, or integrations with multiple systems that really eased that for us and allowed us to grow at a good rate, tackle and adjust and adapt to problems as they came up. And a lot of that integration was developed by myself with other third-party services. For example, our scheduler is a third-party service. I did all the integration with our website, which then also integrates to all 8 of our photographers in the field, besides Lynn and I, to work with their availability in real time. So when you go, like you said, when you go and you see that Monday at 3 o'clock is available, you may or may not have your choice of photographers, but when that's available, that's the time you pick. And that time is not a sort of possible time. That is the time that is, booked for the appointment. So it's a very self-service booking. Not that we don't want to have that communication when needed, but it's been one of our best assets. I mean, we get great reviews on that all the time.
There's so much value, and so many of our clients come back over and over and over again, and they just use us exclusively. It's like, it's great to talk to them, but they don't have time, and sometimes we don't have time to talk to them on the phone every single time. It was like before we got the automated booking on the website, like Andy actually had 2 phones because he would use one to control his camera while he was shooting, and then he'd be on the phone talking while shooting at the same time because it was like the only way he could, get all the things scheduled because it was just crazy. So once we were able to do that, it actually took like a lot of the administration off our hands so we could just kind of focus on building our team. Yeah. And now we have Mike, who's our admin, who helps out with that as well. So that's been great.
Yeah, it makes it so easy for agents. Like my clients are like, when are we doing photos? I'm like, let me just pull up Stylish Detroit. Okay, tomorrow you want 3, you want 3:30. What do you want? And then I just book it and it's done. I don't.
Yeah, we wanted to just remove that whole having to go talk to your client, having to talk to us, going back and forth because it's just not efficient. And I just think it's a really cool tool that you could pull up at your listing presentation and say, okay, let's just go ahead and get your photos scheduled, and just get them to commit to everything. So I think that's a really powerful thing as well.
Absolutely. So, so there was a time, probably, I want to say late last year, where I would go on the site and it would be like, oh, it's Thursday and I can't book till Tuesday. Now I'm able to, I could get next day and stuff. But there was a time I think you guys, real estate just exploded and just got so busy. What was the last year like for you? What was the ebb and flow and what was the demand like?
It was definitely, COVID in general was a big challenge, as you know. I mean, just even having that sort of April month of shutdown, and then being allowed back, I think it was May 7th, if I'm not mistaken. And really photography was always kind of on the cusp of that weird gray area. Like, is this really essential? Is it not? But we were very fortunate to be able to continue working at that time. And then, I don't know if I'm assuming it was a little bit of pent-up demand from the sort of March, April doldrums, but April was bonkers. May was bonkers, and because of that, and the year just continued to be crazy. And then we had one of our photographers had maternity leave, and we had we definitely were booking out quite a bit in advance, which was always a situation that it's a good problem, but it's a problem, right? I mean, it's good to be that busy, but at the same time, when you have a loyal a loyal client base that we have, it can be tough to kind of make everybody happy when that happens. So, and that's a situation where we evaluate and try to bring someone else on and fill in gaps in areas where we want. So, it's all about adapting to it. But we definitely was busy. It was a busy year last year, considering all things considered. You know, if we'd have had April open, it would have been a very strong year, I think. But
yeah. So you said 3,100 homes last year were shot.
Yeah.
And what did it look like? What was the number you were doing in 2016? Do you remember, or can you guess?
Oh, 2016? Oh boy. I don't think we were breaking 500.
Okay, because it was basically just you two and maybe one other person.
Yeah, I think we were in the 300 to 500 homes a year, probably.
Okay, so that's like a six times growth.
Yeah.
And the thing last year too is we just saw, you know, video has gotten stronger and stronger every year. I feel like it really started to pop last year. We were also doing a lot more, you know, virtual tours, Matterports, you know, or 3D scans and stuff like that, because people wanted to be able to look at the house without actually, you know, looking at the house. So that's changed too. Like, you know, it used to just be like most of our shoots were just straight photography. And I think that it really changed that most people were doing multiple services last year.
Right.
So talk about all of the services that you do provide. So I know you provide like drone photography, and you mentioned Matterport, which can you explain what that is, and then detail some other things as well?
Yeah, I mean, we like to think that we offer just about everything and try to stay kind of ahead of the curve and what's up and coming. So our primary, our sort of key route services, if you will, is obviously our photography. And I would say quickly followed by aerial photography. We're at a point where I checked last year, and I'm pretty sure it was 78 or 79% of all of our appointments had aerial as an add-on. So it's very strong. And we're very fortunate in that we have probably, I mean, I guess I don't know this factually, but we certainly have one of the largest crews of FAA approved women photographers on our team. We have, what do we have, six people FAA certified on our team, and of that, 5 of them are women, right? 5 or 4, I don't. Anyway, and it's you know, aerial has been it's almost a standard offering now. You know, like people generally want it regardless. And then on top of that, I actually was one of the pretty early Matterport providers in the area. And what Matterport is, if you've seen it, is it's this camera, this big, you know, box camera that basically spins on its axis 360 degrees. And what happens is, using its own artificial intelligence and some processing, the photographer moves the camera about every 8 to 10 feet in the property, doing those scans. And then through their software and processing, you end up with essentially, it's like a video game of the property.
Like virtual reality almost.
Exactly. Exactly. You can walk through it at your leisure. So it's nice if you are targeting out of state clients, or, you know, especially very strong when COVID first hit and people were looking for ways to kind of virtually show homes. It was very strong with that. We also offer another flavor of that that we call it 360 Live tours. And what that is think of it as a simplified 3D tour, if you will, where you may not have to navigate every 8 feet through the property. You might click an arrow that says kitchen, and it'll show you the kitchen with a 360 view. But the beauty of that, and what made it so strong, particularly last year, is it allows you to think of it as like a combination of a Zoom meeting and a home tour at the same time. So you can have up to 4 people on screen with you, the agent, and you can literally let them take control, or you can take control and you can view the home. You can talk about the home. It was a really incredible tool last year, and we had a lot of people use it, got a lot of really good feedback on it. And it's still not a widely used feature of that tour, but we do book a lot of those 360 tours for someone who wants something that's, you know, maybe a little more budget friendly than a Matterport, but still wants that virtual tour of the property. It's a really great way to do it. And they get a hosted, like a hosted version of it that they can spread around out there. So
is that similar to like Zillow's 3D tour software, kind of simplified, but obviously without the zoom, like, you know, that component that you mentioned?
Yes, it's very similar. In fact, one of the things that we offer when we do those particular tours is we offer integration with Zillow 3D. So those Zillow 3D or those 360 panoramic images will also go uploaded to the Zillow listing.
Okay.
So it's kind of a twofer, if you will. It's just
Mm-hmm.
not quite as the navigation's a little simpler than a Matterport, for example.
Right. You just kind of like teleport from one room to the next. You don't
Basically, yeah.
know.
I mean, there are arrows and directions you can go,
Yeah.
but it's less movement, so
Yeah.
which is nice. And of course, our biggest and kind of most growth offering is our videos. So we started offering a package about 2 years ago, which was kind of all encompassing. It had your photos, it had aerial photos, and then it had a simple walkthrough video. And by simple, I mean it's still very cinematic. It's not something where you're just walking through the whole house in one cut, but it was limited to about 90 seconds, which just think of it more as like a trailer for the home, like almost like a movie trailer. And people loved it, and our growth in video is
social media too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With the advent of IGTV and of course being able to now cut them into Instagram Reels and such like that, it's been, video's just taken off all around, regardless of how you look at it, whether it be what we're doing right now, Instagram Lives, Instagram Stories, Instagram Reels. So video's become a major part of our business, and one of the reasons that we've kind of rented these studio spaces, which we can talk about, but we hope to really expand on the video end of things in the next 12 months as well. So, but video is, like I said, we hired a videographer this year, so we kind of have a lot more capabilities there, and it's a really fun product, and I think people really enjoy it just because of the amount of engagement that people generally get with it. So.
Yeah, I love that. I didn't even really know about that, but I'm already thinking about my next listing. So
there we go. All right.
So let's talk about your editing. So you guys have like a two-part thing. Like you have the photographer that comes in the field and takes the photos, and then you have this whole second part, I'm guessing, like people that work overnight editing, because you have this 24, this quick turnaround, next day turnaround, where, you have people editing your photos. And I like to think of it as magic, like 3D magic, because that's the photos almost look like they glow, they're magical, and I think that comes from different exposures. Can you talk about that editing without giving away any secrets?
Yeah, I mean, it's we have one of the things that I recognized actually back in 2016 with the growth that I was having just with us shooting was, I was getting tired. It was kind of like being in weddings again. Like I was tired of staying up till 2 a.m. to do your editing so that I could wake up at 9 a.m. and deliver them, and I've always felt that next day delivery was an important goal with this. Let's face it. I know some people that have 48, 72-hour delivery, and, you're trying to hit the market running. That's a long time to wait, so it's always been my goal to kind of keep that next day delivery. And so I early on found an editor who has a small team that he manages that's almost entirely dedicated to us. And he does do some work for some other photographers, but we're his biggest client. And I mean, it's my photographers, part of that integration in our website and the systems that I spoke about is our photographers upload directly through a portal that we have. Okay. That portal sends a signal to our editors who are directly tied into our, we have an all company Slack Messenger setup, and our editors is a member of that as well. And he is able to pull them as they come in and start editing. And, by usually 11 o'clock. It depends how busy we are. 11 to noon the following day, we're going through quality check with Mike, and Mike is, starting to get them uploaded for invoicing and delivery. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how technical we should get into the process, but I mean, we got a really solid team, and he's been with us since 2016, and definitely wouldn't be where we are without him. So
I explain it to my clients that you take multiple photos of the same like image with different exposures, and then you smush them together.
kind of. Yeah, kind of. I mean, there's some lighting involved in some frames and stuff like that. It's more than just like HDR processing. But yeah, I mean, essentially we are taking multiple exposures. And
that's just from a layman. That's how that's how I'm like, I tell people, because they always wonder like, why are there so many clicks, and I'm like, it's magic. Don't worry about it.
And that's and that really is, I mean, essentially the way you put it is a very simple way to put it. I mean, that's it's multiple exposures that get processed together, and we do some lighting, as you've probably seen us walk around with our flashes and stuff on site. So
that's also another cool thing where they're like holding the light. I don't even know what that thing does, but they're holding it behind them. How does that? Is it creating enough of a light? Is it controlling the camera? Is the flash coming from what they're holding?
Yeah, so on the frames that we do use the flash, everybody on my team is controlling their camera from their phone. That is one of the tools that we kind of provide for them to use, is this app and hardware situation. And then their flash they hold it in their hand, and depending on what it is, if they're bouncing it behind them, they're probably trying to get light to hit forward. Sometimes we're up in the frame, bouncing the light, that sort of thing. So it kind of depends on what we're after. And that's where that little bit of manual finessing comes in on the editing side, brushing in the flash stuff.
So we have a question that came in.
Cool.
Garrett, he wants to know, what's the widest angle lens that your photographers use?
That would be probably, I'm the only one who uses it, as a 15 to 35 Canon lens. I will say that I rarely use it at the 15 millimeter side, but I don't see the need to go much wider than that without looking a little distorted. One thing I do kind of try to train to all of our photographers, they all go through a training process with me, shadowing and reverse shadowing. And when we talk about composition, one thing we try to avoid is it's super elongating the rooms or making them look a little bit out of scale. And so it comes down to how we position the camera in relation to the room, and how wide an angle a lens we use. If you get too wide and the room happens to be a little on the long side, you really kind of get cavernous looking, and it just doesn't look properly to scale, if you will. So that's definitely one of the compositional things that we work on.
And then you get the response like from the buyers who go in the house and go, it looks way bigger from the photos. Like you want to be able to get everything in the shot, but you don't want it to be distorted to the point where it doesn't look real.
Yeah, when it doesn't match reality at all, or you might see shots where like there's a couch in the foreground, and because it's so close and you're using such a wide angle lens, the couch ends up being like this enormous object taking up a third of the frame, and that's just not doing the room justice. What do you think, Lynn?
Lynn,
I don't hear. We lost your audio.
Lynn, what you might need to do, because I'm not sure what's going on, is you might need to drop out and come back in. That might reset whatever's going on. All right.
Still can't hear you. Oh,
okay. She'll be back.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So, so when we're waiting for her to get back, do you offer the same turnaround for all of the services that you offer?
Good question. Everything except video. Video. So one of the things we do with our video process, and I don't know if everybody does this. I haven't checked, but
Oh, you know what? I forgot. I might need to invite Lynn back.
oh, sure.
Let me see. Okay, I guess she hasn't joined us back again. So, all right. So go ahead. When I see her come back in, I'll invite her back on.
Okay. Yeah, so video, we actually have a pretty thorough review process with our clients for video, because video can be, it can be a mixed bag as to what people want out of their video. We have videos where we have the agent on camera. We have videos where it's just simply whizzing through the house, showing the space. We have done lifestyle videos where we've had actors and dogs and cars and all kinds of stuff in the video. So video can be a little bit of a mixed bag, but one of the great things is we have a really great local video editor, and she's very fast and very good, and she will put up. We have another system that we have, which she can put the video up, and then the client can actually go through and watch the video while it's playing. They can start typing, and like, let's say they didn't want a bathroom shot, and they didn't want this particular half bath in the video. We didn't know that. They can type, please remove this shot, and it'll pause the video, and it'll reference that point in the video when they type. So it allows my editor to have really direct correlation to the client when she's working out those final edits. So generally speaking, it takes 24 to 36 hours to get the first draft, and then we're looking at another 5 to 12 hours to get the final video. When it's a normal showcase video. We do have some projects that are a little more extensive than that, but that's our general formula for it. So
okay, so maybe 4 to 5 days at the most.
Yeah, well, 3 to 4 days at the very most. Yeah, that's usually if there's something going on. But yeah,
and
everything else is next day.
And that's scheduled like at a different. The videographer will schedule that with the clients separately. Usually,
we schedule it as part of that package, right?
Okay.
So if you book that showcase package, you're usually going to get a videographer and one of our photographers that to do the photos in the aerial. So we try to get 2 of us there. That way, it's not a 5-6 hour ordeal. It's 2 of us for 2 hours or 2 of us for 3 hours. So
okay.
Yeah,
that's really exciting.
We didn't get Lynn back, huh?
We didn't. Maybe she's resetting her phone.
Okay.
I'm guessing if it was me and I was having some issues, I would be resetting my phone.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm just going to message her really quick.
Okay.
But yeah.
I want to ask you, but I think probably we'll wait for her to, so do you do any other type of photos? Like, will you do like realtor headshots or other,
Yeah. We haven't even touched on that yet. So one of the things we did last year is we were very fortunate to find this particular space that I happen to be sitting in right now, which is in the elevator building downtown, right down from the Ren Center. You can literally look out our window and we're looking right at it. It's a beautiful view. And our goal with this space was to set up a video studio, as well as to set up a shooting space for, she says she needs to be invited. It won't let her request.
Okay.
I don't know what's up with that, but.
Let's see if I can find her. Oh, okay. I didn't even see her come back in the room, but I am just invited her in, so.
Okay.
She should be
cool.
Separately.
But I'll kind of continue on that. So, so we ended up renting the space. It was going to be a video studio. It was going to be where we would do our headshots and things like that. Hey, there she is. All right.
We mixed it up. We got you on.
Sorry.
Now. No, I'm sorry. I was waiting for you to come back in the room. I didn't realize that you were.
I kept trying to say stuff, and like Andy was just talking over me, and I was like, "Oh, well, that's rude, whatever." And then I'm like, "I don't think they can hear me."
How is that any unusual activity? But anyway,
right.
Lynn, we were just talking about the studios. So we rented this space. It literally, we used to have a retail studio when we did portraits and weddings, right? So we had this storage locker filled with gear from back then even. They're talking 2008, 2009, or a little bit later. So we moved it all into this space and really kind of quickly felt cramped in this space. So we ended up, the neighbor moved out and we ended up taking the space next door as well, which is double the size. It's basically two of the same size spaces. So we have double the size total. And so that's where Lynn's at right now, the brick wall. And so that is now our sort of client-facing headshot room, portrait room, client meetings. It's also our coffee room and stuff like that. And this is now kind of our gear cave and
Junk room.
That's not junk, but it's you know, where we keep our gear and all that stuff. So it's been really good, and of course we're kind of waiting for vaccinations to happen a little more thoroughly, and hoping to start getting back into doing that again. And we love working with people. And one of the things that, at least for me, and I'm sure Lynn shares this, but you know, you shoot houses on and on and on, and you kind of miss some of that interaction and that crafting images around reactions and things like that. And so it's exciting again. And you know, we do a lot of photography for both Real Producers magazines. And so the studio has been really great. So yes, in answer to your question, yeah, we do headshots and realtor lifestyle branding sessions.
I was just going to ask about lifestyle branding type stuff. So if
Yes.
somebody came to you and said, you know, I want to do photos for social media, you consult with them and kind of figure out, you know,
Absolutely.
how do we want to do
Absolutely.
this and all of that.
Yep.
Okay.
We have a couple different options in the works for that. And we're definitely hoping to kind of hit that pretty hard this coming year. So we're really excited about that.
That is really good to know.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what is next for the company. So activating your elevator building space, and I mean, what you know, what else do you that you can share is on the horizon? What's the future of real estate photography?
It's kind of a tough question. I think there's been a lot of, I think there's been a little bit of technology stagnation over the last year, and I'm sure some of it's partially COVID, but I do think that there are some innovators that are trying to do more with artificial intelligence and the virtual reality stuff. So I think that there's going to be some new product offerings in the pipelines. I don't have too much specifics yet, but you know, right now my main focus is growth, and we got some room for some other shooters and some other areas. So yeah, I don't know, Lynn, do you have anything to add to that?
It just, you know, we're trying to get the branding side of things going. We're going to probably offer the studio up for people who want to like create video content, so we can assist with that, whether they want to do like green screen stuff or just kind of come in and do market updates or just kind of use the space as is. You know, we're seeing a lot of, you know, Instagram Reels is like changing things in a big way. We're seeing, you know, the attention span for video just keeps getting shorter and shorter. And so making that bite-sized content is something that we're seeing, you know, just in our own feed. It's like generating a lot of views and getting us more followers. And we're finding our realtors are finding they're getting more impact with that. So we'll definitely be thinking of different ways that we can like package content into little bite-sized pieces so people can kind of get, you know, more value out of it when they do a video project with us.
So as far as your social media goes, like how has it evolved and how has it, you know, besides just helping you get more business, how has it helped you get you more business? Like, are you inspiring the people that are hiring you? Like them saying like, oh, I want you guys to do that for me, you know, that type of thing happening?
Yeah, definitely. I would say like once we kind of hit like 2,000 followers, I feel like we kind of started to get momentum. And it kind of went up from there. You know, anyone that tells you they know how the algorithm works is full of it. But, you know, I do think that when you get to certain, like, you know, follower counts, you kind of start getting treated a little better by the algorithm. So we're seeing, you know, we have people, it's, you know, back when I was going to the shoots, that's a lot of times the things that I would do is I would just go to shoots and do the social media, do the behind the scenes stuff. we'd have people coming up and saying, hey, can you do a story about this, or can you do this? We've had people approach us, wanting us to feature stuff. We have a lot of accounts that tag us like all the time, and I think they think we're just like a feature page, and they don't realize that all the work is our work. They think because of the name, our name is so generic, they think it's just like a Detroit or Michigan-based real estate blog type thing. But so then we have to just kind of explain, like, no, please don't take us in your underexposed bathroom photo that we didn't take, because we don't want people thinking we did that. But yeah, I mean, it's like, when we've always been very, savvy when it comes to internet marketing, and like, when we did weddings, blogging was kind of like the way that you got brides, because you would mention the venue and you'd mention all the different, places and the things that they were interested in as far as locations and dress designers and stuff, and they would naturally kind of find you. And we're finding that, Instagram is kind of the place for realtors. When I started the account, I literally would spend hours a week just trying to find like any agent with a pulse who was on Instagram, because like, as agents are typically pretty slow to adopt new technologies. I worked for a realtor board for a decade, and I know that firsthand, like just, some people just still were struggling with like email and stuff. So using Instagram was beyond them. And I thought from the beginning, hey, if I can find these realtors that are on Instagram, I know that they're going to be a little more tech savvy. They're going to be more likely to want to use photography, understand it, and they're going to be on this visual platform where they're going to constantly be like seeing how important imagery is and how that can, make a huge impact on their business. And I think, in the last few years, it's really exploded. Like, I used to just like try to find people to connect, and now it's like they're finding us, which is really cool. And then the other thing too is, sorry, I'm getting all these notifications. We're seeing it get more sophisticated too, where people were just worried about listing photos. Now they're trying to get their personal branding photos. They want to do video. They want assets that they can use for stories. We're seeing, that the market's getting more mature as far as what people want. So there's still, a ton of people who aren't necessarily using photographers for every single listing, but I think those people are going to find that, like, if they don't start doing something, they're not going to have the business anymore, because, the clients are more sophisticated. Everyone's online. You got to have good photos, and the photos are what will get people to look at the other stuff, because the other stuff requires more attention span. So.
Yeah, I can't tell you how aggravated it makes me when I see, especially like really expensive listings with cell phone photos.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think people understand like how affordable real estate photos are. I mean,
right.
Doing your clients such a disservice. That is something that I want to backtrack on. At what point, like, because it seems like this editing style has become like a standard. Like, if you don't take your photos this way, if you don't have all of this editing, it's not just about composition anymore. It's not just about lighting. When did that sort of start to come into play, where it was like, if you don't have a professional photographer, it's not acceptable? Now, if you don't have a professional photographer that also has all of this, editing, magic, when did that all start happening?
I mean, for us, it's always been important. And this goes back to shooting weddings. I mean, we both are, we're in our 40s. We were film shooters. Both of us as kids had dark rooms in our basement. And I mean, it's very important to me. And we're both, the thing I like about photography is it, combines art, but it also combines like math and technology and science. And like, you have to kind of know your shit, and you can't just like, show up at a shoot and put it in auto and hope for the best. The one thing that I think really differentiates us, especially now that we're seeing a lot more competition in this space, is none of our shooters are just button pushers. Like, they aren't just like people we pulled off the street and we're like, here's a rebel, go shoot a house. Everything that we do is very systemized, but we start with photographers that are extremely experienced. We were looking at our newest photographer today just to see her numbers, and we hired her. She was already an interiors photographer, but she's already shot like 500 homes with us, and she's only been with
almost
us for
600. Yeah,
and how long has she been with us? Like
Ooh.
half a year, I think. I don't know.
But
anyway,
August or September of last year, something like that.
Yeah. So like, when you bring one of our shooters out, like, this is not their 10th house. It's not their 50th house. It may be their like 500th house that year. And we want everyone to get everything right in camera. So, we do take multiple exposures because we want to expose for highlights and shadows. We're going to light the rooms. We're going to light the rooms off the room, so there's not like this black hole, off to the dining room or something. So I think that makes a huge difference before you even go into edit, that you have to have something good to start with. And then, just editing the style, it kind of follows, to some extent it'll follow like, what we see in editorial stuff in shelter magazines and stuff like that. We'll kind of you know, set the tone for how editing, you know, ends up getting used in a real estate space. It's one thing too, is we have kind of a hard time communicating with clients sometimes. Is like, if we're hired for a designer, we're going to shoot it a little bit differently than if we're shooting real estate, because real estate is just about speed. So it's really high quality, but it's still, at the end of the day, you know, we have to kind of do things in a systematic way so that it can be done, you know, efficiently.
So yeah, so I see, you know, when you go on your website, you know, there's a link to book for real estate photos, but then, and I clicked it today, kind of like got a little turned around on your website and clicked the designer link. So what, you know, how is it different? And then, you know, what kind of people hire you besides real estate agents? Like, what industry people hire you?
We get hired by, like, oh, am I still on?
Yeah.
It just got all glitchy. Okay, sorry. Kitchen and bath designers, interior designers, sometimes builders. We've done stuff for, like, assisted living communities. What was the one that you just did, Andy? You just did a big project.
Yeah, I mean, it was new construction, but it was a luxury senior facility. Amazing facility. But I mean, it kind of all falls under, you know, kind of new construction and developers. But you know, it was a 4-day project. I have some very regular kitchen remodeler clients that I shoot for. I have a handful of interior designers that call us when they have something that they want to have in their portfolio. And you asked how it differs. I mean, it's definitely a little more crafted image. And I don't want to discount what we do for real estate, but I mean, real estate, we're about the flow of the home, the layout, the spaciousness, the features within the confines of that. Whereas a lot of interior designers, it's about materials and textures and color,
how the space feels.
Yeah, feel, and a little more sort of exuded lifestyle, if you will, than you might find in a real estate shoot. So I guess, I mean, the big difference is, aside from some shooting technique difference, the time investment is definitely a little greater per image, quite considerably so in some cases. But the shooting technique is a little more of a manual process than what we would do for real estate.
And how did you kind of come into that technique? Is just kind of like, just from experience, you learned that works better, or is that what kind of like the designers told you, like, this is what we want you to focus on? How did it all come together?
We always start with a consultation with the client. So, like, you know, for a kitchen and bath designer, maybe they have like some kind of cool pull out for like a spice drawer, or, you know, some kind of crazy innovation, or like a, you know, like a, I don't know, a cappuccino machine like built into the house or something like that, where you're going to spend a lot more time on details. You're going to spend time like shooting the hardware. The light's going to be a little more motivated to help tell the story of the home. Excuse me. You might rely more on like natural light in that situation, or bring more of the ambient in, again, to create feeling. And we're really going to be occupied with making sure that colors are, you know, reproduced precisely. We're going to bring in like color guides and check everything, which is not really the kind of attention that we can put on a real estate shoot, just at, you know, the price point that we're at. I mean, it's something we're of course capable of, but the other thing too is there's much fewer images. So usually for an interior design shoot, you're looking to create like 5 to 15 images, and you could be there half the day to the full day to do that, because you're spending so much time on it. And, you know, that's the kind of thing where like we're going in and like, if the window is not producing enough light, we're going outside with a light and we're making the window have sunshine in it, or we're, you know, conversely, we're masking a window because there's not enough light, or we're really taking time to, like, you know, stage the space. Sometimes there's stylists involved on site as well. So there's just like a lot more moving parts.
Got it. Yeah. I guess I never would have thought about, you know, what kind of went into all of that, but that makes perfect sense. Yeah. And with real estate, you're just like turn and burn. Not that you're not taking care, but like, it's like you need to be in there in an hour because you're doing 3 a day, and you need to have them delivered by tomorrow, and they still look great. You know?
And it's a very different. It's a very different usage too. I mean, real estate, the life of a real estate image, one of the reasons it has to be quick is especially these days, right now, more than ever, where houses are on the market for 12 hours and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make that impression and you have to turn them around quickly. And that's the life of that photo, really.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of, maybe the agent's personal marketing for, hey, I sold this, or,
Mm-hmm.
but, whereas an interior designer or a stager or a builder is really looking to build a solid portfolio for their website, for their social media presence. It might be used in paid advertising, things of that nature. So,
And it's probably going to be used for multiple years usually,
Mm-hmm.
right,
until the
right.
trend changes and they don't want to, show that style of kitchen, or that, it's the wrong cabinet or the wrong countertop or something.
Right.
The other thing too is often if we're shooting for publication, they may want more vertical shots because they're going to do like a half spread and stuff like that. So we do, we're changing up the compositions a little more as well.
So what did I not cover? Like, I feel like we covered a lot of good ground. I feel like we talked about everything, all the questions that I had, like what should the people know? And then also, like, if they want to work with you, if any of the things that you mentioned are, intriguing, like that somebody wants to do branding photos, or they want to, use your services, outside of real estate photos, where do they go? How do they get in touch with you?
Well, a couple things, just the things that I always wish that our clients would know, just to start, is using a professional photographer is like the one thing. If you do nothing else, like, it will change your career. And I mean, I know that sounds like it's like a pretty controversial statement, but I mean, I have just seen it over and over and over again. Some of our clients who've been with us for years now, when they started, like, they hired Andy once, and then we didn't hear from them for like 3 months. And then, then they were hiring us every month, and then they were hiring us, twice a month, and then they were hiring us 5 times a week, and they all say it's because of the photos. It makes a huge difference. I mean, anyone who, especially I think realtors, need to just like sit down, pick a city on realtor.com that you don't live in, that you don't know anything about, and look at listings like you're a consumer. And you will be so frustrated because there's still, I mean, it's just, there's so much garbage out there, and then it's just, how can you present a house like that? It's crazy to me. Like, at any price point, that's one thing we hear too, is, when I have one good enough, then I'm going to hire you. And it's like, your little $100,000 listing, by doing a terrific job on it, is how you get the $250,000 listing. It's how you get the $500,000 listing. Our clients who started out with us, were using us for those little houses, and now they are doing the $1 million houses. And it's because they have this consistency in their portfolio. They can sit down with a seller and say, look what I'm going to do for you that no one else is going to do. And the thing is too, is it's still a novelty to the client, I think, because, most people don't sell their houses that often. So, the last time they sold their house, real estate photography might have not been a thing. So
yeah,
when the agent says, oh no, I'm not taking out my cell phone, I'm bringing in a professional who's going to come in with this big honking tripod, this giant camera, and a flash, and spend an hour at your house, you feel special. I mean, that's something that you go and you tell your friends about. When someone on Facebook says they need to list their home, you're like, oh my God, you have to call my guy. You can't believe the stuff they did for me. You don't have to ask for those referrals. They just happen. And that's how your business grows. I just think it's so incredibly powerful, and so many people just like leave money at the table by not doing that for every listing. Because when you do it for that $90,000 listing, like, those clients appreciate it so much, and they're going to buy a bigger house, and they're going to buy a bigger house after that, probably.
Yeah. Like you said, then, tripping over the dollars to get to the pennies.
Right. It's like, it's laughable to me, because it's like, in many ways, real estate is like the most underpriced photography for the quality that you get. And it's just crazy to me that like anyone would think they could sell a house without it.
I honestly think that agents must think it costs like $500 for a photo shoot. You know what I mean? Like, they must think it's so expensive. Like, they've never even looked into it. And it's just a fraction of, and yeah, you're absolutely right. And then if you, it's just going to bring you more business, and it's just going to pay for itself, basically.
Right. And the thing is too, is I think a lot of people think, oh, well, it's just one listing. The market's hot. I don't even need it. Well, sure, you may get an offer, but like, our clients are getting 45 showings in one day in a hot market. They're getting 12 offers. They're getting offers, giant percentage points over asking price. And again, that's something the seller is going to remember, and they know, you know, you put that extra effort in. But one thing I think is a misconception is they think this is just a listing photo and I can't do anything else with this. And I think that's another thing that it just, like, if I could grab my clients and shake them, I just want to be like, you need to use these photos. Like you have, like, you know, 25 to 50 photos to 100 photos, depending on the size of the house. Those are Instagram posts. Those are Facebook posts. You don't have to put them all up at once. You can crop some vertically and make them look differently. You can put them up in your stories. You can make a reel with your video. You can do so many things. And then, you know, put them on your website. Put them on your blog and keyword the crap out of it with the cities you want to work in, and, like, you know, talk about the neighborhood. You can always bring that content up and use it again in a way that's going to help you make money and just help you establish a brand. And, like, that's just so crucial right now. Like, it used to be, like, for an agents for a long time, they could rest on their laurels and plop something on the MLS in all caps and, like, you know, call it a day. And it's not like that anymore. You know, the people are just too savvy and sophisticated. You have to kind of put the effort in now. And we make it easy for you, so you don't have to know how to do photography. You know, just call us, and, you know, like, you know, as far as getting a hold of us, you know, you can go to our website. You can see our schedule in real time. You can choose your photographer. All of our pricings there, we're completely transparent about our pricing. You don't have to, like, call us to get the pricing like it's a big secret. That's the thing photographers do that I can't stand. Yeah, so, you know, we try to make it as easy as possible to work with us.
I love that. And so, where, you know, if somebody wants to work with you, what is the website? And
yeah, the website is stylishdetroit.com. No spaces or hyphens or anything. And that takes you to our main portfolio, as well as our booking page is right up at the top, a big book now button. And of course, our strongest presence and our most, I should say, most up-to-date portfolio is going to be our Instagram account at just Stylish Detroit, which you can see here in the live. We update very regularly. We certainly put more recent content on Instagram than anywhere else. We do have a Facebook page. Facebook is something we definitely want to focus more on. I think it's something that we're pretty largely focused on early on, but Instagram just became the jam. I mean, especially with Lynn handling it, it's the place to be if you're in real estate, for sure.
absolutely. Well, yeah, it's an image-centric social media platform. What better place for a photography company?
Right. And we have our branding and portrait stuff is over at theshotshop.com, and it's shop SHOPPE. So there's an extra PP at the end, but you can see
the shop.
The shot, like SHOT, shop.
SHOPPE. Okay.
Yep. And that's also linkable right on our Stylish Detroit website too. If you go up under headshots, it'll take you to that. But at least for now, that's
perfect.
But yeah, so our headshot and lifestyle portfolio is there, and if anybody wants to reach out on sort of the branding end or the headshot end, that would be the site to get into, and you can use the form there to reach out to us. We don't have a direct booking calendar like we do with real estate, only because those sessions are a little more customized to the needs of the client. But, you know, it gets the ball rolling for sure.
Fantastic. And one last question. Where did the name Stylish Detroit come from?
We are terrible at naming things, basically, is how it began. When we started our wedding photography business, we lived in Grosse Pointe Park, and like our little downtown area is called West Park Market. And I was like, oh, that's cute, because we're just going to, like, do weddings locally. Like, we're not going to do weddings far away. And, like, every single wedding we did was, like, we did, like, 3 in Grosse Pointe, and, like, almost all of them, we did weddings, like, up north. We did weddings across the state, like, on the West Coast. And I'm like, this name is dumb. No one even understands what it means if you're outside of Grosse Pointe. And then we basically did the exact same thing with South Detroit. I was like, you know, you're getting all these, because at the time he was mostly just doing a couple things at Grosse Pointe, but a lot of, like, the new cool lofts, like the Willie's lofts had, like, just popped up when he started shooting down there and stuff. And I was like, you know, you should do something to, like, you know, Curb Detroit was starting to get traction. I'm like, you know, you should just kind of, like, you know, do something with that name. And then it's like, everyone's like, oh, I would call you, but I have a listing in Nova, you know, and it's like, no, we do that. It's fine. So I guess that's something we should mention is we go as far west, generally as like Ann Arbor, as far north as like, you know, Clarkston, Fenton, and then we go down River Monroe, stuff like that. So we cover a huge area. It's not just Detroit anymore. So
So
Yeah.
if an agent wanted to book an area and they put in the address, would the address tell them like, sorry, that's too far out of our range, or would you guys have to
No.
contact them back and go, that's too far?
We would probably contact back and discuss, travel arrangement if needed, or not if it's. It's pretty safe to say that it's about a 100-mile radius around our office here in Detroit.
Okay.
But occasionally we get asked to go out towards Lansing or a little bit north of Flint, stuff like that, and we do it. It's certainly within the realm of possibility. There might be a small extra travel fee involved, but yeah. It's a big area to cover, but that's why we got such a great dedicated team that can handle it. So
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Wonderful, informative. You said earlier we have customers, we're clients, we don't have fans. You have fans. We're fans. So.
Well, thank you.
you.
I appreciate that.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to interacting, especially with the SHOT Shop. I'm definitely interested in, social media branding and stuff like that. So looking forward to being able to interact with you in some new and different ways as well.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
I look forward to it.
We're looking to do like monthly or quarterly stuff if you want to just go in and get new assets like every couple weeks or couple months. And also, I'm always happy to talk about Instagram, answer questions about Instagram. We've had so much luck with it, and it's kind of taken over all of our other streams as far as bringing in new clients. So I think it's something I really feel like agents need to leverage, and it can be a really powerful tool for you. So, hit our DMs if anyone has questions about that.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, thanks. Have a great night.
Thanks again, Jan.
Thank
You
you.
too. Take care now.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.